Pledge of Allegiance. And please remain standing for a moment after the pledge. Okay, I pledge
allegiance to the flag
The flag
United
of
States
the States of America, to
to
the republic
for which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under
under
God, indivisible, with liberty and
liberty and
justice
justice
for all.
So on the eve of the inauguration of
Standing still.
our own way, I'd like us just in silent prayer for a moment to give thanks to Donald Trump for his 4 years of service as president, and a special prayer for Joseph Biden as our incoming president for wisdom and strength as he leads this country for the next term of office. God bless them both. Amen. Thank you.
Very magnanimous.
Okay. So in the beginning of everyone's binder, we have a resolution which Lindsay has prepared, which is a necessary first step as we open our meeting remotely. I don't know if you could all find that in your binders, and I'm looking at a bunch of binders out here in front of me. Kurt Meyer, Michael Groskopf, and
Yeah, I don't have it here.
yeah, all right. Well,
Mine.
we need to make sure we get these. So this is a resolution to be adopted immediately at the commencement of the meeting, whereas the governor, Andrew Cuomo, by executive order number 202.1, suspended Article 7 of the Public Offices Law through April 1st, 2020, and subsequent extensions through January 29th, 2021, whereas the Board of Trustees of the Incorporated Village of Nissequogue wishes to protect the public while continuing to perform necessary government functions. Now therefore be it resolved that during the period of time that this referenced executive order is in effect, the public is not permitted to attend the meetings of the Board of Trustees in person and may view and or listen to the meeting pursuant to instructions made available on the village website. And be it further resolved that as required by referenced executive order, all meetings will be recorded and later transcribed. Be it further resolved that a practice or requirement pursuant to any policy of the Board of Trustees that contradicts the applicable executive orders or this resolution is hereby suspended. I'll look for a motion to move and a second on this resolution, please.
I move to approve.
I'll second.
By Kurt, second on that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, one and all. I think I have grabbed the wrong sheets. Let me look for my agenda. Here it is. Okay, so we'll have the review and approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting of December 15th of 2020. These have been circulated. I had one very minor grammatical modification to that, and barring any corrections, let's move on the minutes as distributed.
I'll move on the minutes.
I'll
Approve the
second.
minutes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you all. All right, Pat, we'll have item number 2, the treasurer's report.
Bank balances as of December 31st, 1,806,052.27. Collateral statements are included. Cash flow statement shows projection of 936,329. There's a summary of the outstanding taxes. Lamb & Bernowski is in the process of resending the outstanding tax letters shortly. There's a summary of the planning board schedule on page 9, trust and agency on page 10. The balance sheet and consolidated statement of revenues and expenses is on pages 11 through 25. And a summary of the budget versus actual is included on 26 and 27.
Right, I got that, yeah.
Okay. Continuing court fines are included on page 28. Legal retainer, page 29. Copy of the debt schedule is on page 30. And then there's a couple resolutions for tonight. First one being to accept the budget modifications included on page 31.
let's take a look at that. I want to come back to page 26 and particularly page 27 before we conclude, but for the moment, if we could look at page 31, which are budget reclassifications. Let's see what we have. Insurance recoveries. As an increase, the sale of the equipment. Maintenance of roads, we are adding money to it, and we've taken that.
We're just transferring, yeah, within departments,
I'm sorry?
reclassifying within department. But
Yeah, the net effect on the budget is zero, of course. I'm just looking at the major ones for those folks who don't have their binders.
We have the, Pat,
We have the abstracts.
they gave us to the abstract. They gave us the treasurer's
Very
report
good,
also.
yeah. Okay, so
Yeah, they were,
added by the village treasurer, the budget reclassifications, all intra departmental. I'll look for a motion to approve and a second on the budget reclassifications requested.
I'll make a motion, Michael.
And a second, please.
Second,
I'll
Jim.
second.
Jim, second. Michael made the motion. Yeah. Okay. Okay, Pat. If we could just go back to the expense item on, we're going
page
to,
26 and 27,
I'm sorry, say again?
page 26 and 27.
Yeah, I'm going to call this the Donahue report. I seem to remember Jim asking for a summary by department, and I think it's a great idea. So I think we should call this the Donahue report. It's a good one, Jim.
Excellent.
Just looking through page 27. So if we look at January, we'll say that that is the 8th month of the fiscal year. So it's 3/4 of the way through. We have a budget of expenses for the whole 12 months, for the whole year, of $2,063,000 and change. And to date, through today,
Okay.
we have expended $1,296,000. And the 3/4 mark is just about $1,550,000. Now, there'll be some seasonal and once a year expenses down the road, but I just want to make the point that I think we're tracking fairly well to date. Again, through the winter yet, but just highlighting a few things. The police department is at $474,000 relative to a budget of $695,000. The fire department is at $171,000 relative to a budget of $267,000. Those are the two critical large. Highway is $80,000 relative to $120,000. And of course, snow removal. We haven't gotten the bill yet, I don't believe, from the town for the cleanup of the one snowstorm, but we have a budget of $120,000 for that. So everyone keep up the good work. I think we're tracking well expenses relative to budget. Any questions on that report?
I'm just surprised that didn't we have some snow? We've spent nothing on cleaning up the snow?
Bills are just delayed. It takes a
Okay,
to get the bills from the town.
gotcha.
I think a lot of those folks, Jim, in the highway department, they've been hit pretty hard. I suspect that a lot of them are having to work from home or not really working, and that bill is just delayed, I suspect.
Okay,
Okay,
Yeah, they're off a bit with COVID, so they were out for a while.
right. Right. Okay, Pat, we'll continue with the treasurer's report.
Okay, also need a resolution to transfer $24 for the Ahmed Trust and Agency account, $1,467.41 from Bluff Realty, and $96 from Silver Oaks, for a total of $1,587.41 to the general fund.
Mayor, if I may interrupt, I think we should hold off on the Bluff Realty matter to either discuss an exec or put over to next month as per our discussion earlier in the week.
Okay, so the resolution would be $24 from Ahmed Trust and Agency, 1,467.
Only no-
We'll eliminate that, and $96 from Silver Oaks TNA for a total of 120,000.
$120.
120, nice try, Rich.
Yeah.
$20 to the general fund. May I have a
I make a motion. I
I'll
make a
second the motion.
motion by Jim, a second.
I'll second,
Michael.
Kurt.
Kurt on the second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Great, thank you. All right, the next bullet point we'll pass on.
We'll pass on that. And then last resolution to write off property taxes, which are on the cover page of the treasurer's report in the amount of 609.51 for 5 properties.
I'll make the motion.
The total again is how much?
609.51.
$609.51. Okay, motion please in a second.
I'll make the motion, Jim.
Second, Maureen.
Maureen on the second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Great, thank you.
And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Fine report as always, Patricia. Thank you. We'll turn to tab 3. Everyone's had a chance to review the abstracts. I came in over the weekend. I initialed off on the on the vouchers that had come in, and we're continuing with that until further notice. Just having the mayor do that, and we have some additional bills that have come in subsequent. So let me just make sure I get my numbers correct. We'll look for a motion unless there are any questions with any of the, I can never find this correctly. What is the abstract by, it is abstract 2408 through
17 for a total
2416.
17 for a total of 115,628.03.
I got that. So we'll look for a motion and a second on the main body of the bills to be paid.
I'll make a motion. It's Michael on the revised motion, on the revised amount.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Now we also have a resolution to authorize payment of abstract 2418 for invoices totaling $3,314.60, which are due prior to the February 16th, 21 Board of Trustees meeting. These were circulated this afternoon. The most significant was on one of the pumper trucks in the fire department, 452. Thank goodness the call turned out quickly and everyone was safe, but we had a dead truck and we needed to replace the old and bad batteries in that. And that's been done. That was $1,667. That was the significant one that came in. Totaling this abstract of 2418 is $3,314.60. I'd like a motion and a second to approve payment of those.
Motion.
I'll
Motion by
second.
Maureen. Kurt is a second on that. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Jean and Lindsay are going to need to leave by 8:25 to 8:30 this evening, so I'd like to just get into the attorney's report, and then I'm going to have Joe Arrico come on to talk about the proposed changes to the fee schedule for the building department. Jean and Lindsay, if you'll have the attorney's report.
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for the courtesy of allowing us to go to this other meeting, which is normally on a Monday night. We have these things very tightly scheduled, but because of the Martin Luther King holiday, the Commonwealth Board meeting was moved to tonight, and they asked us to appear. So we kind of split our schedule, and we appreciate your courtesy. So we did render a written village attorney's report on litigation, and I assume you have that in front of you. I think that's pretty much self-explanatory. The only other things we've been working on are the subject of executive session. I think John Valentine, Lindsay and I have been speaking, and we have a proposed resolution, which if time permits, we can participate in, or John is fully prepared to present, and he has a resolution for your consideration, which we drafted. Lindsay, you want to add anything?
I just want to add, you may all be aware, and I know Pat and Laura are well aware, there was an executive order, I believe it was just last week, it's 20289, and it was addressed some issues regarding village elections. And the two biggest issues coming out of that are relevant to the village is that COVID-19 is a valid reason for an absentee ballot, which is the same as the last election. And there is a reduced nominating signature requirement. So I believe that number should be about 35 for the village, but each candidate will have to figure that out.
Okay. That's a little less than normal, but good. Okay. Any questions for Jean or Lindsay among anyone?
No.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Jean. Thank you, Lindsay.
You're quite welcome.
I'm going to jump ahead only in that I want to make sure that both Jean and Lindsay are present when we have the discussion and hopefully move on proposed modifications or changes to the fee structure for the building department. Joe, I'd seen you a moment ago. Are you on, Joe?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah. So I think everyone's gotten a list of your proposal. It's under tab 6, couple pages back.
In the kitchen.
Joe had prepared a sheet, and if you'll remember, we had the spreadsheet as well. So, Joe,
Yes,
starting left to right, page 1, then page 2, page 3, page 4, page 5, or just work off the list that you've most recently submitted. Please give us what your recommendation is per each category in dollar amount and what the current fee is. And then at the conclusion of Joe's presentation, then we'll open up for any questions or comments, okay? Well, so Joe, you have the floor, please.
okay, so the demolition fee that we have right now is $250. And we don't have an accessory structure fee, which we do on this one. So as you see, the proposal there is in line with the charts I gave you. The new construction, the mayor and I spoke about at $1 a square foot is right at the lower end of where everybody else is, maybe $1.25, $1.50 a square foot, but the minimum at 500 is a good move because we get a lot of small work. Even though it's small work, it still creates the same amount of number of inspections that we need to go on and the same amount of work. So it's important to have that minimum fee. Additions or alterations is the same as number 2 with the new construction. Like I said, the inspections stay in line. The plumbing and heating at $250 is a good fee for the overall project because we do underground roughing and finals with heating. We also have to look at all the heating work. The fire and storm damage, we decided to keep, we don't really have too much of that. If there's a fire, and unfortunately in the village and they repair it, we'll just go by the alterations and additions fee. The electrical fee is important because we don't have one at this point at all in the village. And when people come in for electrical upgrades, they just get the underwriter permit. Now we could secure a permit and put it in the file, which is of utmost importance to have. And as the mayor pointed out, I was wrong. We don't have any gas in the village. I thought we did, but we don't. So if you go down to number 9, the propane underground tank at $250 makes sense because there's several different inspections that need to be allocated to that. Total of 3 to 4, usually, depending on where the tank is located. The CO fee at $150, that's the lowest of all the other towns, and that's also good to have because we could hold completion on that with that. The solar panel at $250 is on the lower end, but the right end, it's some towns are $500, most towns are $250, but it varies back and forth. The fence permit at $250 is important because of the inspections of the poles and the posts, and that's the right fee. Generally, everywhere else on the fence is around that number to $500, so $250 is fair. Now, the only difference is the permit renewal. The reason why I changed that is when you renew for 1 year, it should be the whole fee. And the reason why is the houses in the village are generally on the larger side, and that encourages the homeowner to get done. If you give him a 1 year renewal at 6 months, the jobs lag, and that is always problematic. And also with the size of the structures in the homes, there's numerous inspections. So as you see on Cordwood, you see that project that's going on. We've been already out there 7 times and the house is only in the footing foundation stage. So it's important that, we keep that fee at 1 year full renewal. And if they want to renew for 6 months, and here's why that works. Let's say the house is nearing the end and in 6 months he'll be done. Well, we could give them a break on that. Instead of giving them a whole year renewal, we'll be fair and give them 6 months at 50%. And if they don't finish it, they have to pay the other 6 months at 50%. It keeps the village going out, looking at the projects, and it's the right way to do those. The amendment fee of $250, we encourage that because people have to come in with plans. We review the plan again. We have to meet with the architect. It's $250 is a fair number. Plus, if they add square footage, we charge them for it. If not, it's a straight fee. And then the BZA application, is $3,500. The tree removal at $250 is more than fair because we have to review it and go out, and then we sign it off at the end. The generator is important at $500. Several aspects for that. We have lines put in the ground, propane, gas tests, regulators. So we have to go out several times for that. The bill prior fee is important because most villages have 3 times. This one's at 2. Some villages do have 2. And that's important because those people have had their legal structure there for years and they're not being taxed on it. And that's the reason why they get the penalty. And that's that list.
Very good. Joe, I want to thank you and your whole team. I know a lot of work and a lot of thought went into this. Very meaningful. And I want to thank you for that. So I have 4 questions on these, but I'm going to turn to each and every one of the trustees first for any questions on anything that Joe went over, please.
I have a question, a quick question about the tree removal permit. Is that for per tree or is that
Right, that's the total number of
the
trees. So
total number of trees?
yeah, 1 to 8. Generally, people come in with 2 or 3. We're
2 or 3.
finding 4 trees, but that's for the whole permit. The process is basically the same. That's why we kept it at 1 permit fee.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Maureen. Jim or Mike, Kurt?
Yeah, Joe, just a question on solar. Do we have many solar installations in the village?
Over the last year, I think we issued approximately 4. We have one coming in now that wants to do ground solar, which would be the same price. But in our village, that's a little bit of a problem because they have to go to the ARB. But we're seeing a little bit more of an influx of solar, but not as much.
Mike or Kurt?
Okay, I'm in favor of all the recommendations that Joe had made, and I think they're pretty much in line with any surrounding area, and it'll be a good thing for the village.
I agree. I
I
agree.
agree.
with you, Kurt. Mike, anything you wish to add, Mike?
No, basically, I saw these some prices about 2 years ago. This is Joe started this, and it's structurally correct. There's some upgrades that I see that I'm happy with. I'm a little leery about the tree permit, but I guess Joe's right. The 250 consumes. Basically, it's all the same thing. We do have people come in and take 10, 12 trees down at a shot. We just had that recently, but they're usually dead trees. So I guess there's no intent to destroy the place. So I gather this looks pretty good to me.
Okay, good.
May I ask a further question? Do you
Yes.
do you have to get a permit for a dead tree? I mean,
No, if the tree's
No.
dead, they could take it down. We don't issue, no. It's generally for the live trees. And to Michael's point, the gentleman that came in, the mayor and I had discussed that. He took down many trees. We made him add 10 arborvitaes at 8 feet high. So he paid the fee, and we also put a condition on it that he had to put the neighboring trees along the driveway by the
Right.
neighbor. So we do make them put something back
right.
sometimes.
So there are conditions to the fee and to the fine.
Right, so the fee's 250, and then we'll say, hey, you have to do this. If you want this permit, we're not gonna approve it unless you plant these trees as well.
Yeah, a remediation plan. Okay, Joe, I have 4 questions, if I may, starting off with demolition. I just want to make sure I'm understanding it. So we're going to make it, your recommendation, 1,000 per, for the residents and $250 for any accessory structure for demolition?
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Exactly.
Item number 6,
6.
swimming pools. I just didn't catch you saying this. So it's $500 for a permit to install a swimming pool?
I think I missed that one.
I'm sorry?
I must have missed that. I don't remember saying it as well. So
No, I don't think you did.
I didn't. So the swimming pool's 500. So what's attributed to that pool, it includes the fence and the pool. So if you come in with a pool permit, they don't get charged the fence fee. It's one permit because it's
Good. That was my question. Okay, very good.
That's
All right.
consistent.
Next is item 16, tree removal.
Yeah.
Really furtherance of Maureen's question. I just want to make sure we're all clear on this. My understanding is that a permit is required, or better put, is not required for the removal of any dead tree. And it's only once a tree has reached a certain caliper, I think measured 3 feet up from the ground, that permit. People can still take down living trees so long as they're not of a certain size. Is that correct, Joe?
Yes, that's correct. They don't need a permit for that.
It's a diameter, isn't it, Joe? It's diameter.
Yeah,
What's the diameter, by the way?
6 inch.
Okay.
That's my understanding. Yep. Okay, one last one. Generator. Let's see, a generator fee of 500. Now, is this for a permanent installation, or is it for a lot of the generators that I've seen, and I have one that I purchased maybe 2 years ago, is a portable one, if you will. Does this apply to all generators or only those that are built in?
Only built-in generator. State code doesn't apply to the portable ones, only permanent.
Right. I think we just need to clarify that
Okay.
within this classification of activity, if you will.
Okay, we'll reword that.
Okay. So,
I have a question. Are you done, Rich?
I'm sorry, Mike?
I had a question about trees. I just thought of something. Last time we took trees down on the property here at my mother's house, we had to go to the Coastal Commission. Should we make a notation that if what's in with should be restricted if there's something in regards to that? Should we make a notation with the fee? I mean, if you're within a waterway, you have to have a permission from the coastal committee to take down those trees. They usually did a bunch of reviews for us in the past. Am I correct, Joseph?
Right, yeah, we wouldn't issue that permit. We would make them go to coastal for approval.
Should we say something on the permit that implies that, or should we put a little paragraph or an asterisk or some sort of footnote on that, or no?
You mean, so they would come in to see us, right? And they would say, we want a permit to take down trees, and we tell them, you have to go to coastal. So we would send them to coastal. So I'm
But
misunderstanding.
should we post that? Should we post that on this list saying that tree removal may have to be reviewed by coastal?
So, yeah,
Can
we
we put a notation on it?
I got you. So we would put on there tree removal permit, this amount of money, possibly has to go to coastal for subject review. So,
Yeah, I just want them to know that there's something more there that could happen. It would happen probably to about a third of us in Nissequogue world that close to the water. So,
okay, we could do that.
am everybody in agreement with that?
Yep.
All right, I'll make a note.
Anything that I'll trust your wording. You're good at that. So,
Well,
All right, so we have Joe's recommendations of the requested changes to the building department fee schedule. If everyone would recall, maybe 2 months ago, perhaps it was last month's meeting, I had asked Gene, just to make sure my memory was correct. We had permitting legislation passed several years ago, which enabled the Board of Trustees to make changes to the fee schedule without having to conduct a public hearing and public notice of such. So, and Gene concurred with that recollection.
Lindsay, I'm sorry, Lindsay, you were the author of that. That's your recollection as well.
I'm sorry, Gene.
I just want, Lindsay was the author of that document, as I recall, right?
Of
Lindsay?
the revised local law.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that the only one that we might need to do by local law is, and it's okay if it's part of the resolution tonight, is the renewal. I believe the renewal piece is still set forth in the code. Is that right, Joe?
Yes, it is.
So I think you can make it part of the resolution anyway. I don't think it's harmful to do that,
Yeah.
but we should probably just go through all the pieces for the local law and we can just take it out and make it by resolution going forward. Because the law, I just double checked the local law on that one and it says it's the same as the fee, the original fee. So we can just take that out and say whatever it is, you know, we'll just refer to the resolution going forward.
Good. Okay. Joe, again, thank you very much for you and your team, all the good work you've put into this. So I like what we see. We obviously need to be keeping current with our expenses. That I think these are all justifiable. So I will look for a motion and a second to approve the changes to the fee schedule presented by the village building inspector as presented. I think a total of 18 of them as determined on the revised permit fee schedule dated January 19th, 2021.
And I would just recommend that you pass a resolution authorizing a public hearing in March for the one piece that needs the local law.
We'll do that next.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, you didn't pass the resolution yet. I apologize. I jumped the gun.
Okay, so we have a motion and a request for a motion and a second to approve the revised permit fees dated January 19th, 2021.
Richard, motion for, you mentioned 18. I think there are 17.
I'm looking at Joe's schedule on behind tab 8.
Yes, but I think number 8 was eliminated.
Well, it's NA. It's, I don't see it as eliminated. I just say, I'm including that.
Gas, the gas and.
Applicable.
Okay,
Just in case.
okay.
All right, so we'll look for a motion
I'll make the motion, Jim.
as second.
I'll second the motion.
Kurt on the second. All in favor, please?
Aye.
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 Thank you, one and all. Joe, again, thank you. Then, Lindsay, your recommendation is now to move forward for a resolution for a public hearing.
To amend the village code section regarding the permit renewal fee
Yes,
for a public hearing.
yep, that's what I understand. Okay, so I'll look for a motion. A motion to authorize the village clerk to publish notice for a public hearing at the March meeting for the purpose of amending the village code pertaining to the building permit renewal fee.
I'll make the motion, Jim.
Second,
I'll
please.
I'll second.
Second by Kurt. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you all. Good job, Joe. Joe, we'll come back if you don't mind waiting on a little bit. But great accomplishment. Thank you. I think this will have a meaningful impact upon the building department, bringing in fees. You know, obviously, we've expanded the personnel count in the building department out of extreme necessity. I know how busy you and Brian and Barbara have been. So this was good work. Thank you.
Thank you.
I will now turn to Patricia as village clerk. Item number 5 on the agenda for the village clerk's report.
Okay, the calendar is included for January and February on page 1. Immediate action list on page 2. Okay, page 3, need a resolution to post and publish a notice designating the offices to be filled and the terms for the June 15th election.
May I have a motion to that effect, please?
Make the
I'll make
motion,
that
Jim.
motion.
Second, Jim.
Kurt will second Jim, motion. All in
Yep.
favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
We need a resolution to authorize the village clerk to continue the use of hand-counted ballots for the June 15th election.
I'll make the motion, Jim.
Hand counted paper ballots, yeah.
Paper ballots, yes.
All right, and a motion and a second.
Make the motion, Jim.
Second it, Michael.
Who was the second, please?
Michael.
Michael.
Michael was second. Jim, motion on that. All in favor, please.
Aye.
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 Aye. Okay.
A update on the sexual harassment training is on pages 5 and 6. I've contacted the village employees and Chris Knott is working on the fire department volunteers. Page 7 is the pandemic, another draft copy of the pandemic operations plan that was distributed at the December meeting.
Did we, just for clarification, Pat, didn't we approve this by resolution at December's board meeting?
No, we did not. We said that everyone would review it and we discussed it at the January meeting.
Okay. That is not what I recall, but I will take your word for it. Everyone had a chance to review this, or are we going to wait until next month? February 16th, I think, is our next board meeting. We need to move on this. So I want to make sure that we're giving it the proper attention. Do we need another month to have everyone review this very carefully, come back with any changes, and then
Yes.
have this on the agenda for the February board meeting?
Yes.
Yes, I agree.
All right, this is the homework assignment for all of us. Please, guys, take this home, read it tomorrow morning, be prepared. We're going to move on this at the February board meeting. We need to get this accomplished. Again, a lot of work has gone into this. Thank you, Pat, and anyone else has contributed to this. I want to make sure that we don't let this dawdle. Okay, so we'll have that on the agenda for February then, Pat.
Okay, and then the last item is a date for the 21-22 budget meeting.
Okay. Jim, which Saturday can you afford to take off? We'll start there.
Hang on, let me see if I know my calendar.
So the first Saturday is the 6th of March, and the second Saturday is obviously the 13th.
I'm gonna bet it's you like the 6th, right? You like the 6th.
Yeah, let's get this done because we have, remember, April's meeting is a week early because we need to get the approved budget up to Albany for,
I should be off on the 6th. I should be able to make that.
okay. So Pat, why don't we plan on notifying all the department heads as well as the trustees? It'll be Saturday, March 6th. I discussed this briefly with Pat today. I think this is something of importance that I want to have this in person, and it's going to be using every square yard of this Village Hall complex. We'll have people, we won't all be around the table, but I think it's important that we meet, if for many other reasons, but keep in mind, this is Maureen's first budget planning session. And I think a lot gets lost in the weeds by doing things virtually, quite honestly. This is very critically important, and I'd like to have us do it in person. I think it's more meaningful, and I know it will be much more meaningful for Maureen if we can do this in person. Jim, do you have any problems with that?
No, I have no problems with that. I'll be fully vaccinated by that point, so.
I think most of the board will be, I know. Kurt and Maureen and Michael, do you have a problem in doing this in person on March 6th?
No, thank you.
No.
I prefer it. I appreciate that.
No problem.
Mike,
I would miss it. I would miss it. You and I always have fun.
I cannot hear you, please.
I said I would miss it. You and I always have fun.
I'd have to go over to your house afterwards, I think, and argue about some budgetary item. You're right. It's all
We
good.
always have fun. It's all good.
Okay, so let's put that in the book then, Pat.
I need a resolution to post and publish that meeting.
Yeah, I'm just going to go over the time. So have it commence at 9 o'clock. So we'll look for a resolution authorizing the village clerk to publish a public notice of the annual budget meeting for Saturday, March 6th, commencing at 9 o'clock that morning. Need a motion and a second.
I'll
Make
make
the
the
motion.
motion, Michael.
I'll second. Jim.
Who was the first?
Maureen.
Michael.
Maureen, I'm sorry,
Oh,
Maureen.
sorry, Michael.
Go, Maureen. Go, no, go, Mary. Go ahead.
Doesn't matter.
All right.
Doesn't matter. Put it down.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, good. Okay. Great, thank you.
That's the end of the village clerk report.
Thank you, Pat. Just checking the time, Jean and Lindsay, 7:42. Okay. Joe, if I may ask you to come back and review your monthly report to the board, if you wouldn't mind.
No, I'll try to be brief. So it's good that we increased the fees tonight because we took in 9 building permit applications this month, which is more than normal. And we were extremely busy today, and we took in probably around 9 FOIL requests just today alone. And you can see that's what we did last month. So today we took in 9 FOIL requests, and we're receiving a lot of CO requests as well. So we've been really picking up and getting a lot busier in the office. And I just want to say that, Brian's doing a great job, as well as Barbara. And we have been revamping the system in the office to make it more feasible and easier for people all the way around. So today, just to bring up a point, I had an appointment later today, and I came back a little later tonight. And Dr. Vesey's old house down on the end of Long Beach Road, which was built in 2008, I met with the architects down there, and they want to demo the house and rebuild a whole new house down there. So I was a little surprised by that because that house is in pretty good condition, but the person that's purchasing the house really wants to rebuild a much bigger home. And that's an R1, and it's also in a 2-acre site. So, the setbacks there, we have to be careful with. So I just wanted to let the board know that. Also, generally going over the list, we did 21 building inspections. As you can see, the FOIL requests. We had several different meetings, and basically, just doing standard business. What else could I add to help out with that? Oh,
Where are we with the renewal on the special use permit for Silver Oak Stables? Because I think before we formalize that, I think we have to have a public hearing, if my memory serves me correctly.
correct. So I spoke to Dan Velasco today in reference to that, and that's going to be brought to your attention, I think, at the next board meeting. According to Dan, all the paperwork was in order on his end. I don't know if Lindsay gets involved in that or not. It's basically Dan that handles that. So I know he's moving along with it because we did speak about it today. I also went out on, several other minor complaints, as you know, that we spoke about, Mayor. We've been taking care of those. I'm issuing a summons to 4 Teal Way. I was there on Saturday. And I have to talk to John Valentine about it. I'm busy today. I spoke to John, but not about that. So John and I will speak on Thursday. That house is in unsafe condition. It's open again. So that's our same gentleman on Long Beach Road. I had a situation with Mr. Rubenstein on Monday regarding Stillwater. And I told him that I really want that house demolished. And he tends to feel that I'm wrong. So I told him to bring me an engineer's report and prove it. So that's where we're at with him.
Good. Your second to last, I'm sorry, your fourth to last item, resolved issues with PSE&G. What's a bell hole?
That was that permit when they made the 40 bell holes or 25 to 30 bell holes, not 40, that we had to close out. They were anxious to close out the permit. So I actually spoke to Dominic and also Steve, I think it is, from Highway. So I went out and did an inspection of all the bell holes and then signed off on it so PSEG could get their certificate. So I think there were around 31 total, if I remember.
Okay.
Yeah, right?
What's a bell hole?
That's my question. What is a bell hole?
So they opened up the road to install wiring and also into the road to upgrade the wiring systems PSEG did for the village. So their speaking was so that if there was a storm, it would be less likely we would lose power with these new systems. They could ascertain the area and break it down into better sections. And that's what they did. According to that.
So that was from Richards Road, am I correct? From head of the harbor into Nissequogue?
Yes. It was a big job. They were there for a while over the summer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They sure were. Okay. All right. Does any questions for Joe, please?
I just wanted to, oh, sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I
Lindsay.
just wanted to jump in about the special permit. So a public hearing is required and there's some time frame requirements. I was not aware that the application was in, so I don't know where we are with those time frames. But if you think that we're going to be set, we could potentially be set for the next meeting, you should probably authorize the village clerk to publish that notice. And if it's too early, we'll do it for the next month.
Okay, I'll talk to Dan. I have a meeting with him Saturday. We're going down to Rudman's property, but I know I think it's due April, the first week in April. That's the renewal date. So I'll double check. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So I think we should do it in April. I'm sorry.
March.
March. I'm sorry. I'm getting a month ahead of myself. Lindsay, I think based on what the renewal date is, being April 21, let's look at getting that resolution next month for a public hearing on Silver Oaks for the March meeting, if that's okay.
Okay.
Joe, I'd just like to mention, I got a complaint today from one of the residents who lives on Wilderness that the property behind them had been clear cut. The property would be, I'd like to get a better address on it, but it's behind the Zlotnick property on the cul-de-sac, I think on just off North Path.
7 North Path. I was there on Saturday.
Okay.
I gave them a violation. I didn't put that in here because it's ongoing. So,
Okay.
yeah, so what happened was last week we met with the contractor. I gave them a stop work order at 7 North, not in reference to what your situation is.
Right.
So tonight I spoke to the complainant in reference to that situation, and Brian will be going out on Friday and do a thorough inspection. We're going to take satellite pictures to see.
Right.
And yeah, she's a little bit of a problem, the new owner there.
Yeah.
All right. So
That's
yeah,
like a house flipping situation, they think, right?
it is. It's a house flip, and it's a problem right now anyway.
Okay. Thanks.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Can I circle back to we need to post and publish for a Silver Oaks special use permit?
Yes, good, yeah.
Okay, because we don't have a resolution yet for that.
We're not going to have that yet. We'll probably make that next month.
Oh, for March, okay.
Sorry, for the March meeting. We want to get a tighter read from Dan as far as his timeline on completing his review. on that special use permit, Pat. That's why I think we'll put that off the resolution until next month, February's
Okay.
meeting for a March public hearing. Okay, any other questions for Joe? Thank you again.
You're welcome.
Happy that you and Brian are here on the team doing all this, a lot of activity, and all the more reason that we needed to revise the fee schedule.
You're right.
What's Brian's last name, by the way? So
Heinrichs. Do not ask me to spell it.
it's okay. Close enough.
Oh, yeah. I'll mess it up.
Got it. Thank you.
Good, thank you. Thank you, Joe. Okay, I'm not certain on who else we have. I'm sure John is on. So John, we'll have a police department report.
Busy month in the village, and but nothing serious. And we're still dealing with the issues surrounding the virus and just unrest with a lot of added activity with people being home, still 24/7. Other than that, unless anybody has any questions, we do have something for executive session, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Are the just wanted to remind us now that we're in the new year, the potential for the cameras at the entrances of the village, is that still on our budget line for consideration in March?
Absolutely.
Well, that's why I asked when you're going to, I'm not forgetting that. You brought this up most recently 2 months ago, and before that, several other times. So I think, Jim, quite seriously, when we have our sit down, it ought to be discussed. There are a couple new expenditure requests that will be coming in, and that's one that we've got to give serious consideration to.
Okay.
Oh, it's still very much on the agenda for that budget planning session.
Great. Thank you.
We funded on the capital.
I think you've given us estimates in the past, but I think in preparation for the March 6th budget meeting, whatever the most current pricing for the equipment that you would recommend, I think that would be helpful at that time.
I will give it to you again, and I will make sure it's freshened up for the meeting.
Yeah, that's it. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions at this point for John? Okay.
No.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. Do we have either Dominic or Mike Fazio for the Zoning Board of Appeals?
No.
Dominic is on another meeting.
Say that again, please.
Dominic has another meeting. He called me. He's not going to be able to make it.
All right.
The report, though, is on page 2 of the department.
Right. What about Mike Fazio?
Nope.
Not in
Okay.
attendance, but again, he submitted a written report.
Right. So let's look at the department reports very briefly here. We've had Joe's building department, highway department. Mike, if you want to just run us off that, I think it's page 2 behind tab number 6, the one that's titled page 2.
I'd love to, but I don't have my book with me.
Oh, I'm
I
sorry.
did-
I'll do that. So in bullet points, and there are 6 bullet points from Dominic's report, request of the town pricing for road sweeping, and that's an open item. Continued blowing leaves from the storm drains, continued chipping any large debris that is fallen from recent wind. Let's see. Dr. Anup Kapoor, 4 Pheasant Run, has requested that the street intersections on the repaving of Short Beach Road be sealed with liquid tar, and the water main cap in front of James Neck Road be raised up to meet paving surface. Liquid tarring is complete. Suffolk Paving has been notified to repair the water main cap. Mrs. Irene Samanti, I know John looked at this, Dominic did, and I. There was a large tree that had come down in the recent windstorm up on Brink Road, creating a fairly large hole or a trench on the side of the road. I went out and looked at it, John did, and Dominic, I communicated with Mrs. Samanti that that actually is a portion of the town of Smithtown that traverses to the north side of Brangle Brink Road. It's neither the village of Nissequogue nor the village of Head of the Harbor, but that portion of Brangle Brink Road that's contained within the town of Smithtown. Dr. Anoop Kapoor is back. Light poles leaning badly on River Road. The poles leaning. Let's see, PSC&G has been notified and that they will check on that. That's the conclusion of his report. So one of the things that both Stephen and Dominic have approached me on, and they will be including that within their budget request, is for a very powerful towable blower unit manufactured by Toro. You see these quite often on golf courses. The idea being that with the new truck, they would tow this along the village roads, specifically Mauritius River Road and Long Beach, blowing the sand and debris that gets flowing into the storm drains. So the cost on that, I think, was about $9,800. If you want, you can look at a YouTube video, Toro road sweeper or road blower. Look at it. It's about a 2-minute video. It's very informative. I think it might be something, if we're able to afford it, that would be a good tool for our highway department to use to keep the debris, all debris, off the roadway. So that's something they'll be bringing to the budget meeting. Let's go.
Yeah, I think it's on the state contract or the county contractor unit, so I'll check that for them as well. That was brought up to them.
Good, thank you, Mike. Coastal Commission, we have a report from Kaylee. We have Eric Lawrence, who on Turtle Crossing is doing an addition. Next one is Head of the Harbor. The Rubmans are looking to have a walkway and stairs to the beach, and that's being coordinated with the town of Smithtown. Couple old business from Nissequogue, Mazzatelli on Horse Race Lane. That is the old Niffin house. That is going to be a new house and driveway. That's underway. And nothing really going on with the Cordwood Path project with the town, Head of the Harbor, and the village of Nissequogue. Okay. Chris Knott is attending a very important Suffolk County Fire and Emergency Rescue meeting, Zoom meeting today at 7 o'clock. He may or may not be joining us, but we've had the report for busy month. December 18th, I'm sorry, from the 15th of December to the 18th of January, there were 19 calls, 6 of which were EMS, 3 of them structure fires, 3 of them were carbon monoxide alerts. 1 was canceled, 1 was an automatic alarm, 1 was electrical, a false alarm, 1 standby, and 2 motor vehicles. So for the year, I think it was just over, for 2020, fire department responded to more than, slightly more than 200 calls. We have a second letter, a second draft, I'm sorry, a second letter for the fire department's fund drive, which will be going out on Friday. Tomorrow, I'm picking up the letter with the envelopes and the bucks, and we'll stuff those on Thursday and get them up to the post office Friday. We had our last meeting on the first Tuesday of January. The treasurer of the fire department reported that the fund drive to date has brought in slightly more than $34,000. We're hoping to augment that by a few thousand more. There have been about 275 residents who have contributed to the annual fund drive on that.
All right, Mr. Mayor, Chris has texted me something as well. we need to take up a reading for the state allowance on the points for LoSAP due to culvert. So next month, we're gonna have to discuss it. A lot of people aren't able to make the normal LoSAP qualifications because of culvert. And the state has I guess, a new point system and a new allowance out to give people a pass during culvert. So it's something we're gonna have to discuss at the next department meeting, the next village meeting.
Yeah, John Toledo had sent me something. I have it in my mailbox. I've read it once or
Yep.
twice already. We're doing yeah, I think that's a good idea, Mike. I'm doing research on that, just trying to stay current with the thinking out of the governor's office on that. But I think you're absolutely right. For February, we should have a discussion with the fire chiefs on that point on at
And we
least
should make, yeah,
at least for this year, altering some of the rules of the
right,
LoSAP
we'll
eligibility.
we just have to just vote on it and make a motion on it. That's all. We'll have to
Yeah.
make sure we can condone it
Yep.
as all of us being fire commissioners. It's a necessity.
So for 2020, just to give everyone an example, there were 207 calls. The year prior, 194 calls. So keeping busy.
Yeah.
4 calls a week on average. Mileage, 4530's vehicle, 67,964 miles. The first assistant chief, his vehicle, 79,473 miles. The Dodge Ram for 452. I don't know why that's a personal vehicle. That doesn't even need to be added there. Okay. The report from Mike Fazio regarding the Zoning Board of Appeals. 2 items. Our next hearing is expected to be in February on number 12, Beach Plum Lane, regarding that has to do with the size of the planned house relative to the size of the lot. In speaking with Mike, the lot is just about 20,000 square feet, just a tad shy of half an acre. It's one of the old grandfather lots down at Little Africa or East Long Beach. And the applicants are looking to put in a fairly sizable home. And we have a pretty simple formula within the village code about how much of a lot can be built upon by the foundation of a house, as well as the total square footage of a house relative to the lot size. So that's coming before the Board of Zoning Appeals. Secondarily, the Zoning Board of Appeals archives are being reorganized by Susie McGarrigle according to block and lot number rather than by address or owner name. Very wise, and we thank her for that. And that's from Mike. I think that's the conclusion of the department reports. We have Maureen to report on community beautification. I had a meeting last Monday with Maureen specific to community beautification. I think she's got some very good news, exciting plans to present to all of us. So Maureen, I'll turn the floor over to you if I may.
Well, we're ordering 5 dogwood trees, which will be 5 to 6 feet tall. And they'll come in March or early April, 5 to 6 feet. And they're coming from fast growing trees. And then from the Arbor Day Foundation, we will be ordering small 2 to 3 foot dogwood trees and sleeves to go around them. So we're ordering a number of those, 10. And
Those sleeves, I'm sorry to interject. This is made out of sort of a transparent hard plastic that extends beyond the size or the height of the seedling, really to keep the deer and the rabbits off them as they grow.
Right.
So this one.
And so we will nurse them for a while. They won't be really, it'll take a while before people will be able to see these. They start out rather small. And the other, and then in addition to that, our mayor has ordered 25 2-year-old dogwood seedlings. So those will be really small, and we're planning to, again, nurse these to a size and then plant them in the village.
These came from, I ordered these from the New York State DEC Nursery up in Saratoga Springs. I've been ordering from them since about 1994. I think a hermetically sealed bag of 25 of these dogwood seedlings. Again, they're 2-year-old seedlings. I think the cost was $30. It's really very economical way. And as Maureen is saying, we're going to create a little nursery, if you will, for some of these young plants to protect them from predation by deer and rabbits and all. And little fence enclosure with a fencing on top, really to get these trees to the point where they're 4 or 5 years old and can be transplanted throughout the village on the public highway or byways, I should say, on village-owned property. And hopefully we'll be able to bring back great proliferation of the dogwood, flowering white dogwoods that Jimmy and I and others who grew up here certainly remember. In May, Nissequogue was ablaze with white dogwood. So little village beautification effort. We're getting some good stock in to try that. I should say Michael also. Michael, I'm sorry. I just don't see your picture right here. Michael,
That's okay.
all the dogwood along River Road, for instance, growing up here.
Yeah, the old dogwood, red maple, walnuts, they're all gone.
Yeah, so I think by having 3 different sources, fast growing trees, which is a pretty well-known nursery, the Arbor Day Foundation out in Nebraska, and then the New York State DEC Nursery, we're going to have a fair supply of dogwood trees, some to be planted immediately. Those are the ones that Maureen has ordered from Fast Growing. And then we'll have some others in the nursery at different ages and looking after them to get them to a mature height where they can be transplanted throughout the village. So it's a nice project that Maureen has taken on. I think you're meeting with Kristen later this month also.
In February, we're getting together for about additional plantings in the village. And then we're also putting in a larger tree on Marich's opposite the Knight's place. What road is that?
Spring Hollow. Spring
Right.
Hollow. Yeah.
And we're planning to do that in April or March or April. We'll put a larger tree in there. It'll sort of match the beautiful pink tree that they have. Cherry. And that's it for now.
Well, that's a lot. And the boxwood, every day I go past the fire department, I really slow down and enjoy them. They're a very nice enhancement. So you and Kristen are doing a wonderful job here. It's something that probably has been long overdue, but we're very lucky to have you and Kristen and your green thumbs here. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for your kind words.
Any questions, please, for Maureen? Okay, keep up all the good work. Thank you.
Will do.
Make sure we have covered everything. We will have an executive, a matter for executive session. We've got the planning board. I think we need anyone from the planning board or ARB. We've had the highway, community beautification, building inspector, joint coastal, the fire department, police department, ZBA. James, item number 7, grant report.
Yeah, I've had a couple of communications with Jen relative to a kind of a drainage and water management grant that she sent to me, but really even she said that there wasn't real application for the village. And then I did ask her about the Nissequogue Fire Department grant for the I guess Scott Packs, right? Scott Packs, they got a pretty good
I
number.
believe so, yeah.
And she said was totally unaware of that, so she doesn't know. I asked her to look into it a little bit, but she has no. Do you have any, Michael, do you have information on that that I could prompt her with, or?
No, I'll find out for you though, Jim. I'll give you a shout. Give me a day. I'll work on it
Okay,
tomorrow.
yeah,
I'll get you.
take your time, but
Yeah.
I don't think it just doesn't seem like that's her wheelhouse. I think we need, if we're thinking about fire department things, we need people who are kind of going to specialize in fire department issues, because Jennifer's always been kind of, reticent to apply and feels like there's not a lot of wiggle room to do so. So
Yeah, she's
I
pretty
didn't get a
much
great
aware of
response on that.
Yeah, she's pretty aware of what they approve at certain times. So,
Yeah.
you know what? I didn't know anything about a Scott Pack, but there is the radio issues going on. There's a radio grant going on. So I'll follow up with you on that tomorrow.
Right. Yeah. But I did hear about a large grant that I think it was Wisconsin had for Scott Packs. Is that what we talked about last meeting?
I think that was the recent historic one. I know they're also applying for upgrades for radio equipment to be transmitted by Suffolk County and instead of public safety in the town of Smithtown. So
That's an ongoing thing. That's a meeting I went to last
there's
month.
there's a current application, I think, being developed for the latter. And I do believe that, and I heard this from our first assistant chief, George, I believe, my recollection is that the one that they did receive was for Scott Pax at Nesconset, but I'm trying to find out from George and from Chris as well where we are with these other grant applications and how it's affecting us. So there's more to come on that.
The only other thing is Chris was requesting some sort of grant on a truck on one of the engines. We had to see if we can replace the tanker with something that was a pumper tanker, see if we could get something along those lines. But I told him to start speaking to the county about that, because that's probably more along their line, because that would be their mentality. So they're supposed to be able to help us on something too as well. So there was a couple of things floating out there, but I'll get back to you with some more details.
Okay.
Good.
Whatever you
I
get,
want to take advantage. I'm sorry.
whatever you can give me relative to fire, I'll transfer to her and I'll just see what she can do. If she can't, we maybe should, like I say, move along to someone who's more specialized.
That's not a problem. We'll take care of that.
Yep. I'm mindful of the need for Jean and Lindsay to depart in about 15 minutes. So I want us to go into executive session while village council is still present. So John, if I may ask you, just in summary, the purpose to go into executive session, what does it pertain to?
I guess it would be police policies and activity.
And law enforcement and the appointment of particular persons. And on our side, if you wish, Mayor, pending litigation as per our discussions on Monday in our conference call.
Okay, so I'll look for a motion to leave the regular scheduled monthly meeting and enter into executive session for two purposes. One is pending litigation that we have with application before village boards. Second one on, John, am I correct to say police legal matters?
Legal and policy matters, yes.
Very fine.
I'll make the motion, Jim.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. John, why don't you start off and then we'll get right into Jean if that's all right.
That'd be great. Okay, so
Gentlemen, hold on. I'm sorry, Chief. Switch over rooms, please, so you're not in public.
What do we need to do here, please?
You have to join the breakout room. I'll do it.
Should be just join, I guess, right?
So we hit this button, join.
Yes, correct.
Okay,
That was my IT director handling everything beautifully. Way to go, Laura. Thank you.
Okay, and Pat, as village clerk, I will provide this to you in writing, but I just have it here on my phone.
All right, so as stated, we have a resolution to conduct a virtual public hearing on Tuesday, February 16th at a time to be determined. We would like to authorize the village clerk to publish public notice of said meeting. May I have a motion and a second?
I'll make the motion, Jim.
I'll second.
All in favor, please.
Aye.
Just a
Thank you.
correction, I think it's a public forum and I think it's 6 PM, correct?
It is. If you want, I'll read it. Be it resolved that the village clerk is hereby authorized to publish a notice scheduling a virtual public forum to consult with stakeholders regarding the development of the village police reform and reinvention plan on February 16, 2021 at 6 PM.
Do you think that leaves enough time, John?
Yes, we're gonna structure it for 1 hour.
Very good. Okay, so as presented, whoever had made the motion and second, if you'd repeat that, please.
I'll make
I'll
the
make
motion,
that-
Jim.
And a second
Second,
by Kurt. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
And have you given Pat a copy of this already?
I will be providing it with Pat in about.
Very good. Yeah, okay. Okay. Anyone have anything else that they'd like to discuss?
I just have one item of old business. We need to post the summary of work-related injuries. I just need to note that in our minutes, that we will be posting it.
All right, so you want that recorded in the minutes?
Correct.
Very good. I have signed off the checks, Pat. Before I leave, I'm going to double check. I've got, didn't miss one, and I've signed off on the abstract as
Okay.
that's been done. Guys, I just want to ask you all, please, there's a lot of work that goes into preparing these binders. And I always take the guts of it home and read it over the next couple mornings, really just doing the homework. I think it's very important to come down and pick up your binders prior to the meeting. You know, we all live here in the village. It's not like we have to travel across the island to pick it up. There's a lot of work that Laura and Pat, other staff members put into this. I think it's only right that we each come down and get this in the late afternoon. So please try your best going forward to do that. I just find that for your own benefit, it's good to review all this material. Anything else? Anything that Jim, Mike, Kurt, anyone, Maureen, anything that anyone would like to add?
Nope.
Except a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
I'll second, Maureen.
Second by Maureen. Thank you all. Have a good night. Thank you all.
Yeah.
thank you.